Homebuyer horror stories. Horror stories. Horror stories. First time homebuyer horror stories. All right, Brian, let's talk about it. Let's dive right in. Let's learn from someone else's pain and mistakes. All right. We work with first time homebuyers, and we understand that it can be a confusing world when it comes down to it. So, from the lending side, what have you seen? You got red flags, you got, ghostwriting and all this different thing with first-time home buyers.
Sure.
What are you running into?
All of it. I would say the biggest thing is someone not being 100% honest during that pre-approval stage. Underwriters, title companies, the searches they have to do, they're like FBI agents, man. If you tell me you work 40 hours a week, but you work 36, trust me, we're going to find out. So you got to be honest. But that's probably the most common thing I see, especially with the younger generation, is how many, you work 40 hours a week or full-time? Yeah, I'm full-time. So you work 40 hours a week? Yep, I work 40 hours a week. And we pre-approve them based on 40, and then we find a house, we get under contract, we get pay stubs in, and they work 32 hours a week or 30. That's a huge difference. So that younger generation, those first-time homebuyers, that is probably the biggest thing. Is just, if you don't know, you don't know. It's okay to tell me you don't know. Let's get your pay stubs, and we can do that. But
how do you fix that in that situation?
It's maybe not an immediate fix. At least we know what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Though. So if you're pre-approved for $250,000 at working 40 hours a week, but you only work 32, well, maybe it's not 250, maybe it's 200. So we're not wasting your time looking at $250,000 houses, and they're not falling in love with $250,000 houses when really they should be looking at $200,000 houses.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest mistake I see, especially the first-time home buyers is, and again, maybe no fault of their own. Maybe they think they work 40 hours a week. It feels like 40 hours a week.
Right.
But if you're not 100% certain, it's okay not to be just, hey, you know what? I don't know. All right, well, let's get a couple pay stubs out and take a look. Let's talk to your HR department and do a verification of employment. Or, I've had people tell me that they've got $15,000 in the bank, and then I get a bank statement and there's $3,000. Well, after a few more pay stubs, and my mom's going to give me, we got to source all this stuff. And that's, again, it's okay not to know, and just don't tell us what you think we want to hear. That's because it's, again, we're going to find out.
Yeah.
I don't want to find out, but we're going to find out. You got to remember, these banks are lending hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you were lending me $200,000,
right,
you'd want to make sure that I'm able to pay that back. And that's the biggest thing. That's what you got to think of.
And we joke about it, but it is what it is. You're a first-time home buyer. You might be oblivious or ignorant to the whole process, and so that's why we're here, right? Yep. That's why we do this social content and push this out so that you can be informed without having to make maybe a confrontational call to us or so be it. We want to have open doors and know that these are things we deal with. Yep. And we are experts in it. If we need experts on something we don't know, we will push you out to them.
100%. I'd rather someone be completely ignorant to the process when they talk to me for the first. To be honest with you, I mean, really.
You don't want TikTok buyers?
No, stay off the internet.
I know what I'm doing. Come on.
Please. Yeah, talk to people who know. And you can do some research on your own and all that. Because I have people call me all the time. The first-time homebuyer thing is always the big thing.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of first-time homebuyer programs do you have? Well, there's this and this. There's only a couple things out there, really, truly, that are first-time homebuyer stuff. But you have these bottom-feeder internet lenders and some other places that are in flashing lights. First-time home, well, they're just doing that to make you call. It's really what they just want phone calls. So you can do some of your own research, but really, talk to somebody who's been doing this, that knows what they're doing, and we'll take care of you. And again, if you don't know, we'll find out, and that's okay.
And I will say, it is also important to be getting your information from an expert in that area because I see that issue a lot. Yeah. Someone's asking me about, what's going on with the housing market and are we in a seller's market? Is there a depression? Blah, blah, blah. Well, this is Ohio. This is Stark County, Ohio, Summit County, Ohio. This is not California. Yeah. Okay, so these other patterns you might be seeing around the world, such as, they just stated on a national level, we are in a buyer's market now. Are we in Stark and Summit County? I don't think so. It depends on the neighborhood, but in the same sense, I think that you truly need that local expert. So make sure your people are well versed and
especially as you more so than me as far as local.
Yeah,
I think it is important to have a local lender who knows the area, but definitely agent wise. I mean, because you're right. I mean, there's certain pockets that are different than other pockets. If you don't have an agent who knows that area, then you're either going to pay too much or you're never going to get under contract because you're offering too little. So absolutely, local is important.
Yeah,
Very important.
and I think for first-time home buyers, when you look at it, one of the mistakes I see them making can be with their team lineup, right? And so the lender, the real estate agent, title, so be it. You're going to get thrown that way.
Yeah.
But, your lender and your real estate agent are going to be the ones that set the stage for what the rest of that team looks like.
100%.
Now, I don't push any providers onto, my clients, but I will say, this is who I've worked with, this is who I trust, this is who I recommend to you. Do your research and let's go with it, right?
Yep.
So on the lending side, we usually see insurance agents that you guys are recommending. Yeah. And then on my side, it's home inspectors, title, all that, good stuff.
Yep.
It is so crucial that you have the right team in place as a first-time home buyer. Maybe you're young and you just need someone who's savvy in the market, knows the different addendums to use, because when it comes down to it and you look at just, the brass options out there, you're going to have a simple offer. And to win in some of these competitive markets, you need to have different things. You need to have the lender that's going to reach out to the agent selling that house to let them know our buyer's good.
Yeah.
You need the real estate agent who's going to be able to put together those addendums. Maybe it is that letter to the seller, different things like that. Go above and beyond.
Yeah.
You don't want your part-time people. You want your full-time people in the trenches every single day, and that's what we do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, just yesterday, a veteran agent, house has been on the market a while. The only way this client is going to get under contract because they don't have a lot of money is concessions. And she knows how to do that. Some agents don't know how to, they know how, but they don't know how to kind of get it across.
Isn't that crazy? To be able to explain it.
Sell it. Yeah. And that's sales gets a bad rap, but selling really isn't being a, goofy car salesman. It's not that way.
Sleazy man.
It's just a way to explain something that makes sense in the right way. So, yeah, you've got to make sure you've got a good team. If you don't have a good team, you're going to struggle. I mean, it's going to be a struggle from day one. I mean, from just starting to look at houses, it's going to be a struggle.
Right.
So, yeah, find somebody you trust, interview, whatever you got to do. But it's just we're not all the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say that if that real estate agent isn't meeting you out before you go to look at your first house, and you don't know them on a really personal, scale. Now, there are certain situations that doesn't happen. Sure. I understand that. If it's a house that you find and you message me and you're like, we need to go see this. Okay, we're going to go out to that house and we'll do the consult out there. But it's a first-time home buyer. I want to sit down with them. I want to go through, how that process is going to look. I want them to know that all their questions can be answered and that they're not, they're not dumb. And I think the same thing from the lending standpoint. One thing that I appreciate that you do is do that phone call. Yeah. Some lenders don't do that. They're email, they're text only.
Ugh.
And so talk about that and talk about your process that way, working with a first-time home buyer, making sure you at least get on the phone with them.
Yeah, I mean, you absolutely have to have a conversation. It's got to be, whether it's in person or over the phone, you have to have that conversation just to, again, hear how questions are being answered and hear how, because I will ask them, does that make sense? Do you understand that? And if I get then we're going to go over that again until it's I get it. I want that confident I understand. Not just for their sake, for my sake. Again, I don't want you wasting your time out there. I don't want us wasting time on a file. Let's make sure everything is done right. But yeah, if you try to do this with text and email, it's not going to work. And one thing I know you do, and I know I do, is we're not the 9 to 5 folks. If you need something at 7 o'clock, I might not be in front of my laptop, but this stupid phone is on me all the time. I'm going on vacation next week. Well, guess what? The main reason we're driving, our traveling day is July 4th, is because I'm probably not going to get any phone calls that day.
Right.
I'll be available on the 5th, the 6th, that whole next week. Yeah, we're going to be at the beach, but the house is right around the corner. You know, and I just like last year, I'll be doing my paperwork stuff in the morning, and if we have time, if I have my afternoon, then I'll go enjoy the afternoon. But if somebody needs something at 3 o'clock, hop in the truck, go back to the house, and we'll get it taken care of. You know, so that's what we signed up for. That's what we do.
Right.
So because most everybody else works 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So if our clients are working 9 to 5, when are they looking at houses? Not at 9 to 5. So we need to make sure we're available Sundays. There's going to be that occasional day where it's not going to work, but it's very rare.
Yeah.
You just got to be available, and so the client does not get stuck behind the 8 ball. That's the whole point.
Client always comes first, and in that situation, some agents can come first because you got to respond to them and so forth. I was on a kayak on Sunday, and I get a phone call and I answer, and they're talking about it was for a buyer, and I'm like, yeah, I'll get as soon as I can. I'm on a kayak in the middle of a lake right now, but I'll get right on that.
I'm honest with them.
I mean,
I'm on the boat right now,
but you said it's what we signed up for, and I think a lot of people forget that, right? And I think it's because you're going and watching TV, HGTV, selling Sunset, and I know there's not a lot of like lenders involved there, but they know you're part of the process, and they think that you just sit back and you got suits and Lamborghinis and you're just made in the shade. Well, newsflash, it's Ohio, but anyways. When it comes down to it, we don't get paid until that closing. Correct. Yeah. And so people can say whatever they want. There's tax things, but all this different things that go around. But you're not getting paid until you confirm on what you said you could do.
100%. Yeah.
And so as an agent to put forth all that time, and even as a lender, right? I mean, how much time do you lose within a week just between lost ordeals?
Well, and again, that comes down to that initial conversation with the client.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but if you don't qualify, we need to identify that now. And one thing I'll never, ever do, and I've never have done, is call someone up and say, you don't qualify, have a nice life. No, I'm going to tell you why you don't. And in my opinion, what you need to do to get there. It's on you to do those things. But I don't like wasted time. You don't like wasted time.
Yeah.
I mean, time's money. So we need to make sure that, so if you're one of our clients and you have a pre-approval letter from me and you're out there showing them houses, they qualify. They're ready to go. You don't want, and that's the biggest problem with our industry right now is fake pre-approvals. I mean, they're real because it's on a piece of paper and you can see it.
Rocket Mortgage,
Well, hey, I wasn't going to say names. I didn't say names. But are you? How many? It's all the time, and it seems to even be getting worse and worse.
Right.
I don't know if certain loan officers have quotas that they have to do so many pre-approvals in a week, and they're just pre-approving everybody. What people don't understand is the underwriter is ultimately the one who makes that final decision. And if that loan officer did not pre-approve you right, you're not buying that house. You're wasting your money on inspections and appraisals, and it's really sad, and it ticks me off. I mean, I get upset about it all the time, but wasted time is wasted money for us. So we need to make sure we're doing our job up front. If you do it up front, there isn't going to be a whole lot of wasted time. You're still going to have, maybe the house didn't pass an inspection or what have you, but for the most part, we know we're good and we're going to close.
Yeah, and it just comes down to it with these first-time home buyers and the loss of knowing, all that goes into that process. So, we see it even on the real estate agent side of, I've, heard of in the past, buyers skipping out on general home inspections and inspections in general. You need to make sure you have the right people in your corner to recommend, those positive things that are needed for that sale. It's a contingency to get you out. It's not a contingency to rip up the house and, ask for all these repairs. But, I think now more than ever in the market we're currently standing in, it's important for these buyers to feel like they're in control. Yeah. And so you just want to share a little bit about how a buyer can stay in control in this whole process.
Stay in control. Well, don't quit your job.
Yeah.
Because that's happened. I mean, I've had people 2 days before closing. I had a vice president of Dole Foods, so huge.
Wow.
Makes good money.
Yeah.
Resigned 2 days before. Didn't resign on a Sunday. We were supposed to close on. We were scheduled everything. So just status quo.
Yes.
Just if you want to stay in control, do what. I hate to be the dictator here, but just do what we tell you to do, and
right.
you're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Don't go buy a new car. Don't quit your job. Don't spend your money. Don't move money around. That can be an absolute nightmare. If there's a question, hey, I want to deposit $1,000. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Call me first, and we'll talk about it. And then if it makes sense, then we'll do it. So staying in control, in my opinion, is just ask questions and do what we tell you to do, to be honest with you.
I agree. I mean, I had when it comes to a new build, there's a development in Louisville. And when it comes to new builds, from time to time, it depends on the builder you're working with. Yeah. But typically the builder is going to be sending out paperwork for the client to be signing, and it's their paperwork. And I told these clients, don't sign a single document until I look at it. Not that anything's going to change, but I want to be that review process for you. And so, doing different things like that, and knowing you can be in control that way, but also when it comes to kind of just setting real expectations in that home buying process, that can be something the first time home buyers fail to think about, and when it comes to how much they can afford and all those good things. So,
yeah, that's a great point. So if you're in our shoes, if you're a lender, if you're an agent, setting those expectations it's taken me a long time to learn how to do that, and that's you don't want your client calling you on a Friday night saying, "Well, I didn't know this was going to happen." Well, I did. I just take it for granted that it happens, and I expect you to know. Well, no, I need to inform the client, like, hey, we're going to do the pre-approval. The next thing is go look for a house. Once you do that, then you're going to talk to an insurance agent. You're going to just set those expectations. It's going to make the process so much easier for us. But it's easy once you've been doing this a while to just assume, well, of course, everybody knows that you need to do this. And if you don't set that expectation, especially for a first-time home buyer, then the whole process is going to be a surprise to them. I didn't know this was going to happen. I didn't know that was going to happen. Mm-hmm. And it's not going to be a very smooth process. Because the whole goal with us is, especially these first-time home buyers, we want you guys to be our clients for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
And if we're going to make the process miserable for you, then you're probably not going to use us again.
Probably not going to use us.
Now, some people have expectations that nobody could meet. There's clients that way too, but for the most part, setting that expectation is gigantic. If we're talking to people in our world, that is a key. And if you're a client or a first time home buyer, just listen and take notes. I tell people all the time, especially if it's kind of complicated and they have multiple options. You got a pen and paper. You want to write this stuff down.
Yeah.
So I know what we talked about. And again, does that make sense? Do you get it? Is that so that's huge.
Yeah, and I think the theme of this is the team, right? And it's kind of cliche or so be it for us to say, being the team, but truly I want all buyers out there, especially first-time home buyers, to have a sense of trust and security in the team behind them. And so, there's many different lead platforms, right? Sites, you have Zillow, you have Realtor.com. I would steer you away from going on there and, pressing contact agent who's buying that lead. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. Ideally, if you want to look on those sites, go and look at the, reviews and all that good stuff. Yeah. But I think it's important to know that your agent's doing things like this, building upon their, education and understanding of the market. And so, going on social media, YouTube, and looking for someone in your market who is diving deep into there, that's what you need to do, because this is the biggest purchase of your life. until you purchase the next one as a first-time home buyer. And so you want to have that sense of security and know that you're getting, number one, the best deal, the best service, and trusting your partners. So, and it starts all there.
It does. Absolutely.